When we found out that our daughter was diagnosed with a fatal birth defect called anencephaly, it was probably the most depressing season of my life that I walked through. It was tremendously sad.
There's this great cloud of darkness over your family and over your wife. I wanted anything to get out of that. And really the solution that we figured out was like, what if we just took some time and traveled to all of our favorite places? What happened on that trip was quite a miracle. It was amazing.
It definitely helped having other kids because they sort of pull you out of your deep dark, is what I like to call it. Like, you can't stay there forever because you have other kids that need you and responsibilities of being a mom.
Yeah, I mean, I want to solve the problem. I want to fix it. I want to figure out how do we get this right? How do we like keep our daughter alive, and battle for her. And it was really hard to like release that. And I realized in the process of that, like I was really trying to like kind of control the universe, and then you ask all these questions. God, how could you do this to us? And why would you curse us like this? And that was a very simple version of the universe. Like, whereas really it's like, maybe the universe is more complicated than that. Maybe there's more to it than that. Honestly, it was the most life-changing part of the whole experience was how God loved us through that. And that it was for the first time in my life at the birth of Ember that I felt God was really sad. Like he was sad as we were sad. And that was so eternal to imagine this immutable God that, like to be sad and to be like, to be there with us like that. That was life changing for me in the best possible way.
It definitely felt weird though, like not setting up the baby crib, not having, like, we had 3 boys, not buying a single piece of girl clothing, like nothing. Like there was no prep for a baby that was coming, which is so different than a baby that's coming to live. Like it's just so different. Like there was just nothing. It just felt like I was like sitting waiting for her death in a way, which is like weird to think about and kind of morbid. But like, yeah, it was just different.
Yeah, it was like that her birth was like the end of her.
Yeah.
And like
when
that.
Yeah.
That is like you
Like-
can't get your mind around that. That's not after having 3 boys, and that's such an exciting event to then be like, no, that's what like closes this chapter. And it's like I kind of want to push it out farther.
I remember for me, I was like reading a blog of a mom who was in a similar situation, and they had a baby that she was pregnant with that was gonna die, and her other kids were like, we have to take the baby to Disney World or something like that. So she like wrote this whole blog about how they took the baby to Disney World. And so it just got me thinking about that on a bigger scale. It was like, we're so sad right now. Like, how do we walk through this well? How do we love Ember? How do we love our children now and show them that she can have a meaningful life, in mom's tummy? And so I feel like the idea of like this Ember tour, like these places and things that we were going to do with her that summer, like helped to pull us out of like this depression and this darkness. And so we made a list of all these places we wanted to go to, and the boys were out of school for the summer, and we just thought, wow, like this is divine timing. Like let's go do these things with her that we want to show her.
I just remember my clients being really gracious with me, and I wasn't getting any work done because I was a wreck, my wife was a wreck, and if I work, then my house is likely to burn to the ground because I have 3 boys. I needed to like not work. And if I'm not working, why aren't we like changing our atmosphere to really kind of get our heart back and get, to go to some of our favorite places? And so it all just kind of came together. I mean, it was so cool to see you swim under Yosemite Falls with our daughter and to climb a whole bunch of mountains with our daughter and to go, to Rapid City and see all these places that we would have taken her in her life. And it was through that process of campfires and conversations and singing and praying for her with our boys that that's where I really felt like I began to fall in love with our daughter. We spent all this time sitting around campfires, and it was like an ember at the beginning of the tour was like, it was like this coal that would break away from the fire and then quickly burn out. And so that's kind of how I really saw her life. And it really just, we saw it as a beautiful name. But at the end of the tour, we were driving out of Yosemite, and there was this giant forest fire that had started because somebody had left their campsite with some coals, and one of those embers broke away from the fire, and it started a forest fire. And it helped me really see that, like, that's maybe that's what God was saying when He gave us her name. That it's this very small and tiny but tremendously powerful thing. This ember,
Hmm.
and that's what she was in our life. Like she was this like force that radically changed every one of my boys. And to this day, it's rare that a day goes by when one of our boys don't mention her after. And it's been many years now. And I remember little Sylvan. I think he was like must have been like 4 or 5 at the time, and it was right around Christmas. And he says, "Dad, I bet the best place to be on Christmas, the best place to be on Christmas is in heaven." Like like he got that because he knew that he had a sister there, and that Christmas sounded good there. Like it'd be a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And where could we have gotten such a deep and profound idea into our little boy that, like, without this? And like we were changed. We were new. We thought, and we talk about Ember as though she's there and waiting for us. And those are things that I didn't have planned. Like I wasn't thinking I'd be talking about. I will say, if we would have tried to get out of the situation, as that doctor was kind of pressuring us, or really pressuring us, like, we would have missed out on really the best,
Hmm.
most life-changing experience ever for
Yeah.
our whole family. And I don't have any regrets.
Yeah. I mean, I thought we walked the journey very well that was set before us. I felt like we were really intentional. We used the time that God gave us well. I don't look back on that time either with any regrets at all.